Today, guys, we're going to talk about fathers. And I've never really had a father who cared that much. It's always been like I wanted to impress him. I never heard my father say that he's proud of me. I've never heard him say that you can amount to great things, you can accomplish great things. I've never had this reassurance. And I think that all of my life, it made me, well, at least in my early teenage years and my childhood, it always made me a weak man, a weak boy. And I think I've still had this subconscious craving of wanting to be acknowledged by my father. I think many guys can relate to me, but it's just when there was something to learn, let's say to how to cut grass. He would always, usually if I didn't do something right, he would get annoyed and then he just would do it himself. And then later he would let me do it. It wasn't this encouragement, this nourishment of my skills or to learn. It was just this, oh, I'll do it myself. Okay, screw that, you know. And it made me sad. It made me, like, even when he would say something good about something that I was doing, it was usually because I would say to him, oh, I did this and this, and he would say, oh, that's good. And that's pretty much it. Like, there was no emotion in there. There was no like real encouragement. There was just this, you know how when somebody says something to a stranger and they say, oh yeah, that's good, like there's no connection there. There's just this polite way of saying, of acknowledging somebody else's achievements, but you don't really care. That's what I got. And so I think that many men who just these days also don't have their fathers being as their role models, as somebody who just looks after them and encourages them in the face of danger or in a face of struggle. And they're not really good examples. And so boys and early becoming men have to search for that father figure somewhere else. And for me, it was the internet. It was internet was the thing that got me into pornography, got me into mindlessly watching video game commentary videos, video games themselves, and it's not all negative, but this was the negative part. But it also gave me YouTube. YouTube is a father in a way. I mean, that sounds strange, but I discovered these philosophy videos, self-improvement videos, NoFap community, other men that I look up to now, like Elisha Long, Elliot Hulse, David Goggins, all these internet figures in a way. They spread knowledge, they give you advice on life, what my father never gave to me. So I looked for that in them. And so another thing that happened is I started to read books, mainly Stoicism, early on. And that just, reading Marcus Aurelius' Meditations just blew my mind, because it was a man who says, okay, this is how to be a good man. And he shares his knowledge, he shares his experience, he shares his philosophical views, and you have to do this, don't negative visualization, you don't have to care about what anybody else thinks, worry about yourself, there's many things that are out of your control and stuff like that. And it's just, wow, you read it and this, like, you instantly see this is a real man. He knows how to live. He even said, like, stop talking about what being a good man is and just be one, something like that. So, and we as teenagers and younger men, we always try to look up to somebody who has higher knowledge. Jordan Peterson, many great men. So when we look at that, that's what we search for. we search for that father figure. And with this video, I just want to say that, to give this message that for many guys who don't have a real father figure in their lives, they have this just their dad and that's it. That's not a father figure. It is, but it's not that. It's not a man who can uplift you. It's not a man that you see many good traits in. My dad smokes. He's addicted to it. He's addicted to coffee. I'm addicted to coffee, but he's just smoking, just watching TV, eating, and that's it, working. I have respect for that he works to support the family, and that's all good, but, I've always thought that you need something more in a family, not just the financial aspect. So, and it's an opportunity for us younger men, to look at this and be fathers to ourselves, to start learning, to start experiencing, and to create ourselves to be better men. And when it's time for us to have children, we know not to repeat our father's mistakes. I've heard this saying that, it's not a saying, but it's like a kind of a fact that, children look at the actions of the parents and not by their words, and if you say, let's say, don't smoke, and you smoke yourself, it's not going to have the same impact as if you just didn't smoke and you said that you shouldn't smoke. Your kid then sees, oh, you're saying you don't smoke, and you back up your words by your actions. But if you just say, okay, don't smoke, and you just go and smoke yourself, what does that say to a kid? So that's why, in a way, I'm not drinking alcohol and I'm not smoking. I'm trying to live a better life of improvement. I started to work out, I started to eat healthy. Not always eating healthy, but something I'm trying to work on. And I'm trying to have ambition. I have ambition. I'm trying to build this YouTube business in a way. I want to start studying. I'm reading the Bible. I want to do all of these self-improvement things to kind of become a better man. And when it's time for me to have kids, I have this foundation of being, of course, not just this archetypical father figure, but just this guy who can now teach that stuff to a kid. My dad never taught me about NoFap, and when it comes time for me to, it's just, I want to have these sit downs with my son or my daughter, and give some kind of advice. Hopefully it's a son. I have a boy and not a girl, but it's just that you sit down and you talk to your son, because you see that he experiences something that you have experienced yourself, and now you have this higher knowledge to help him. You don't just shield him from all of the responsibility and the dangers of the world. No, you just kind of, your son always knows that there's somebody out there who believes in him. I think that's really powerful. I think that's really powerful, and it kind of brings me to tears sometimes when I think about it, that I didn't have this. And you could look at Elisha Long. Elisha Long, he looks like a real man. He has muscles, he has a business, he has a stable relationship, and even though he doesn't have his parents anymore, I remember watching a video when he told a story that his father said, you can, like, he's proud of him, and that Elisha can accomplish a lot in his life. I think that's what I've heard, and I believe that in a way that it has this power of turning a boy into a man. And for many of us, we have to just search for that on the internet, and we don't. That's why I always, when there's like an opportunity, when there's like a little kid boy, and there's like, we have our relatives that are younger boys, I always feel that it's really good for him if he has any questions about life. I say to him that he can become better. He can. I just want to lift him up because I see that I didn't have that, and that can be really powerful to somebody. So with this video, I just want to say that not all hope is lost if you didn't have a father, or if you had a not that good of a father figure. Not all hope is lost. You can do it by yourself. Take up responsibility. Start reading about great men. Start looking up internet videos about great men, It's not just, it's just, I think you have to do it. You have to have some role model to look up to. Of course, don't just, when Jordan Peterson said, compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. Yes, that's true. But you kind of have to have this foundation of looking up at somebody, Even God, Jesus, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, you can have many of these father figures type of examples. But I think you have to start looking at them, start building yourself. I think I've always said this, not on the videos, but I always say and think about this to myself, that if there's somebody else who has higher knowledge, why not look up to them? That's why I watch Jordan Peterson biblical videos. Let's say I talked about that in my last video, but he has some higher knowledge about this, so I look up to that. Elisha Long, working out advice, higher knowledge, I look up to that. David Goggins, he's just a crazy man. I look up to that, And all men have something to offer. Not all men, but actually just a few selected men have something real to offer. And I think it's really important to look at that and to just remember that, to build yourself as a better man, and then give that knowledge to your sons. So that's the message with this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more weekly self-improvement content. You can support the channel on Patreon, and when you support it, you can join our Discord group community, Disciples of Life, where we discuss many different self-improvement topics and lift each other up. It's more focused on NoFap, so if you are struggling with that, jump on it, because it's actually, I know I'm biased that I'm gonna say this, but it's changing my NoFap journey for the better. I mean, I'm on day 28 or something, and I've had all these 14-day streaks, 7-day streaks, and I had relapses, and then I focused on the group. I focused on the check-in aspect. We have this day 7 check-in, and everybody checks in to just keep the accountability up. So I did that, and now my journey is just going really well. I'm not even thinking about pornography at all. So if you guys would want that in your life, please join the server. And that's pretty much it. So thank you for watching this video, and stay on your journey.